Everybody, I'm on today. This is Apostle Tanya, and I'm on to talk about several things within the body of Christ as a whole. I find it very strange that you meet people who claim to be in Christ pretty much most of their lives or whatever have you, right? And you get different stories depending on the people that you meet. But sorry, I don't know why my nose is running, but irregardless of that, it's almost like they did not grow up in God. Like a lot of the times the comments that are made don't really reflect a life of Christianity or anything that is even near being respectful. And I understand that we have different paths that we walk, and I understand that we take different roads, and people do things for different reasons. Sometimes people just need a job or a career for the sake of financial means and taking care of the family, which is still due honor because you need a way to live. And the problem that I have, in all honesty, is that trying to find a career and trying to take care of your family is relative, depending on the level of honor that the society is functioning in. So, if you pit each other against one another, whether it be race, whether it be gender, etc., we are still having problems. Ideally, years ago, it seemingly was that you could be a couple, a man and a woman. You could have a family, you could have a career, you could have a home, you could send your kids to college, which is pretty much a good, a society that is functioning on a good level. But unfortunately, back then, a lot of things seemed better. People genuinely seemed to care about whether you could hold on to your job. They cared about you having kids to feed. They cared about, correcting you without just firing you and helping you grow in character and the results of that was that once you finish your career, you could look at this person and be great. I'm thankful for this person maturing me, for growing me, for helping me train for, relationships that you developed as far as like coworkers and families, get-togethers, watching kids grow together. It just really made for some great relationships and a great community. So you could actually enjoy being a neighbor, you know, um, and watching the kids graduate and such. The teachers were better, I think, as far as their walk with Christ, or at least decent enough to be adults and be teachers and allow for the kids to grow and remain children. I'm still like, you know, um, having such a hard time because some of us, depending on the year that you were born, we were young, and not to say that there weren't things going on, but I think that they still tried to hide it a little bit from the kids and tried to shelter them, as opposed to the blatant disrespect and dishonor now, and the kids don't have anybody to look to. So if you grew up in an era where there was honor, then you could be one of those quote unquote kids uh, that are still having a hard time in society with love and marriage and the call of God to ministry and almost anything that you do, because do you lay down the honor and the integrity and the character that you were taught or built in you through your relationship with God and parents and people who took the time to teach and train you for what's being thrown towards you now, which looks nothing like honor. For those who grew up in a house where your parents gave you an option as to whether you wanted to work or not, the job market now and the environment itself is horrendous. It is not the place for what the parents thought would be a great environment or a great opportunity for their kids to grow up and want a job, or even to own a business. You know what I mean? Whatever the dreams were, whatever you discuss with one another, seems almost impossible to attain now. And for those who are believing for love, they are walking around pretty angry because you still have people who will not settle for this makeshift, fly by night, kind of appease you a little bit when it comes to love, which isn't love. Love to me says that you have this desire to be with one person for the rest of your life. And if you meet people who have been divorced and didn't work out, or are married and still come to you saying that they're interested, and you're just staring. All of those things impact how you feel about love, how you feel about marriage. It also impacts how you look at the kids and wonder if they'll ever experience love as well. What do you do with these God-given desires to marry or meet one man in your life, have your children, have a family, and really enjoy it? The same with ministry. If there are two that are called to the ministry, how do you get to that place where when you have people that are coming into this ministry that are extremely carnal, very disrespectful, have no idea what it means to even be a part of a church or, have a bishop and what that role is and the honor that comes along with it. So you find yourself in this role, quote unquote, amongst people that treat you just like anybody else. And it means they're not going to listen to you. They don't honor you. They don't respect the title. They don't respect the office. They don't respect who you are as an individual or your family. And ultimately, you have a bunch of people who are getting together and nothing to honor. Because you have people in place that don't know how to walk in the honor of the office. And it is killing the integrity and the character of the people and what they should become. What are you becoming if you're looking at something or someone who's in an office that you're supposed to be moving into and it's been revealed and you're not seeing any honor? What are you becoming if you're, say, a police officer that's becoming a captain and you're looking at the role of the captains and you're not seeing the honor that you would normally think should be there? You're killing the desires within the people. What do you say to people who are used to a community or grew up in a community of people who had like block associations that would get together, maybe go to like Christmas Village, do like a bus ride to maybe an amusement park, people who were well off in the community who would invite everybody to their lake or whatever have you, when you're now like just looking and wondering, how did you expect the kids at that time who were a part of this group to become them without being able to work in an environment that is, where there's no honor? They're not going to stay in a place where there's nothing to honor. Like, okay, so you're a parent, things will work out. Either way, say you have responsibility, you have children, so you take a job. It could be anywhere. It could be jail, it could be the police department, it could be medically, hospital, it could be a church office, it could be anywhere. Now, your parents have instilled a certain value, belief system or value system that you have, or you have your own, and you go into this place for a job. You're already angered because the salary is so low, it's nowhere near what you would need as far as what you want, as far as, as far as what your dream is or what your vision or your goals are. And you take and you wonder itself because it's going to cost you more in healthcare if you continue to stand on your feet or whatever have you, or how it affects your health. It might not be the best, hazardous, etc. Not only is compliance, the people are unprofessional. They are lewd sexually. They are rude, very unprofessional, and they want to degrade and demean you, making an assessment of this job and whether you want to work on it. But you're seeing that, for one, the job market has changed and it's gotten worse, and the kids that are graduating from college are supposed to come into this, so how are they going to attain these dreams and goals? So they're looking at you, who also has degrees in college, etc., not being able to step into this place or this position with all of these wonderful so-called uh, speeches at graduation. The people or some of the students are interacting with one another and saying that they probably will not even go to graduation. They might get their degree or have it mailed, but what are you going to do? Just stick it on the wall? People are out of jobs. They are staying in places that they would have never imagined. Taken care of their parents, everything is gone. And there's no way to step into your level of comfortability, that you're used to and have grown up in. And are trying to make their way out of these places that their parents wanted to be buried in, because it seems like, burial ground is, burying your parents is not like fun and happiness. And so until you leave that place, you're not really happy. And there's nothing in the town that, with any dignity, I'm going to help you move forward. It is full of drug addicts, perverts, things that will do nothing but discourage you. This is no place to raise children. You find yourself encouraging people to move, hearing people say that they're going to move and take their kids, but you're doing like studies online trying to find out where, because you still need a way to live. And the goal of most parents is that to become financially can really live and enjoy life. And they're stuck, and the kids go off and end up doing some or anything with anybody, people that you don't know. So the standards that you have set are already, already being attacked. When you've done everything you could to maintain a certain level of honor and dignity and focus on the goals that you have for you and your children, you meet people who don't care. And they just say, so what? They fire you, they don't care, this, that, or the other. And unless you have like a union, you really don't have anybody fighting for you. It's horrendous, but it's the truth. So you're torn between finding a job where there's a union or becoming management and being just thrown. You're torn between, yes, the dignity and the honor is there where I accept the call of God and my reverence for Him, but I'm not coming forth that way because the people that I'm seeing that are already in these positions or should be are not reflecting the character and the integrity that come along with that particular office. So who wants to go, on this path that already looks like dishonor before you step on it? And this is a situation that I'm finding myself in, as well as many others. We're not making friends because we don't fit in. Well, why would we fit in when we intentionally, by God Himself, are trained up to stay set apart? But they stick you into places that is completely against your. They are rude, they are degrading and demeaning, they have no home training. And it is inhumane on so many different levels. Do you really expect those of us who's been trained up, not only by our parents, but in the church as well, where the people had Kuth class, were professionals, etc., to become this thing that we're seeing on a regular basis and being attacked by them because they have no respect for themselves or anyone else? And what are we supposed to do? React? React how? Like them? Are you kidding me? So what do? You find a suitcase, don't care what you have, a few things, and just leave. These are people who have sold their houses. They're so devastated that they don't care whether you take the things that they have in it or not or throw it in the trash. They are finding a small apartment on or sold the house on. They are so frustrated and angry and finding a place, spending it all on their parents' health, leaving them with nothing. And the goals that they set as far as marriage and love and school, they are settling and marrying whomever for the sake of trying to find an income or trying to put some income together and make it. That is not what you believed for. So what do you do with the faith that you have in God? Are you supposed to throw it away? Do you know that you're in a town, some of us are in a town where the people look at you, they say things, they have no idea who you are? You go into the church, they are molesters, they're rapers, they're drug addicts, they're felons. You don't fit into that environment unless you are working for corrections or a police department. And you are being stared at and they expect you to fit in without even knowing who you are. That is insane. It just is. And you wonder why the people that are here who are similar to you, families, and hightailed it out of here. It is disgraceful. I would not wish it on a dog. And the problem being is that you have your own idea as to how you want your kids raised, the environment, your home, etc. And you're staring at your kids like, where are the values and the morals that I instilled in you, that I took the time to train you? And you wonder why we're still single. What else could we be? If the people don't value morals or value marriage or value love, you're not going to experience marriage or what God says marriage is amongst a people that don't value God. If they don't value God, why would they value you? We are just like Christ on the cross. How are you going to find a place to take your children on a Sunday where God tells us to honor the Sabbath and keep it holy when everything in the building looks like everything other than holy? How are you going to train them up with morals and values in your own home and instilling them what you value and a value to go into a school with the unless you find a job where you can afford private school? Do you have a home if what comes to you honor it or make it a home? How are you going to develop a relationship or a ministry? The thing that you're trying to fellowship with looks like the world and has no values and morals. How are you going to enjoy your career when everything around you doesn't have that value system, honor and degrade basis? You're going to everybody that you meet when you walk into this family or you're introduced to them already has a horrible story about no. How are you going to have a good name if everything that you meet family says the exact opposite? If you sit around people that are preaching or leaders or friends, etc., that are always negative, always degrading, always fighting, always contentious, nothing is working out, they're going through a divorce, the family is horrible, the whole life has been horrible, the ministry is horrible, how is that going to help you and encourage you when it comes to the call of God in your own life and you wanting a ministry of your own? Who do you think wants to go into a marriage when they've only been around marriages where they struggled with the husband didn't line up, or he was gay, or he wasn't gay, or she didn't do the right thing? That is not edifying. It's not the right food. It's like being pregnant naturally, and everything around you is throwing like things towards you to harm the baby, and you shouldn't want a child, and I wouldn't have had that baby. That is not any good for the mom or the baby. You need to get away from those people and get around people who actually experience with pregnancy, who really believe in love, who are edifying and can tell you about love, this, that, or the other, and encourage you and laugh about being a mom in their younger years or their earlier years and as they grew. You just have to kind of change your circle. Like, it's going to change your life for the better. But staying in a town that doesn't care about the people who are already in the town that were born here, really not a place that you want to bring your kids. And if you've only had one kid, then you never had like practice. You go. But as you mature, it's going to change your perspective on life. If you find a town where the community of people are better and who work well together, who are vessels unto honor and have integrity, it's just going to be better overall in every area. That includes ministry. It includes career. It includes, love. It includes marriage. And generationally, that's important. If the people before us had worked harder at making things better, we would be reaping the fruit of it. If we work harder at making it better now, the kids reap the fruit of it. If we suffer along with us, how do you come out of it? So you have a lot of the saints, a lot of the Christians, a lot of people moving towards Christianity, trying to find a faith, something to believe in, a reason to trust God, and trying to hold on. Looking at the leaders, because the Bible says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, and wondering where the honor is. What happened to the honor of old? Why do you look at the poor, turn your face? Why do you have people who are struggling trying to get a truck fixed 3 years and nobody caring? Why do you lose your parents when you stay home and care for them and do everything you can, and they throw you in a shelter and not care that you get raped or that you're around people who cook crack when you've never been in that environment before? They're liars. To us, are more like people that we would see if we worked in jail, conducive to our growth. And you can sit in this place for years and they won't do anything to move you forward, which is horrendous to what somebody thinks a person in the shelter is. Absolutely not, ever. Been that, and